Good morning and welcome to Crypto Charts Daily. This is the Crypto Charts Daily Report. Today is Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. Let's get right into it. So guys, from now on, I am only going to be doing the daily report Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I am overloading my YouTube algorithm a little too much and it is throttling the views. I figured I'd just hit the ground running, every single day, be consistent, but that's not what YouTube is rewarding right now. So in order to build an audience, build a following, I'm going to spread out the uploads. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then if we can get if we could get some traction, if we could get an audience, we'll go back to posting every single day. So with that being said, today's Wednesday. We'll get this episode done today and then skip tomorrow, and then Friday there will be another daily report. With that being said, guys, let's get right into it. The market cap is hovering above that $4 trillion, increasing here to about 4.03 trillion, up a little bit from yesterday. The CMC 20 also up 0.5% here. Fear and greed, a 51, still sitting neutral. Altcoin season 70 out of 100, and the average crypto RSI is oversold. So now let's go check that out. Starting off the day here, obviously with Bitcoin, the daily analysis, nothing new. We have this internal change of character, which then validates this order block, which price is now reacting to. Again, this is an order block, the last bullish, last bearish. Changes character. So now we'll look for a reaction out of this order block and see if we go and test lows or test support. If we end up closing in or above this order block, again, price of 124,500, then we will obviously look for a continuation of strength. But again, as of this price of 17,300, look for resistance here. Ethereum getting rejected at that 4-hour order block, and now we are coming into the support and resistance flip that reacted to this higher time frame support and order block that broke structure here. So again, look to see how price reacts from this support. If we end up closing in or below this support, we will look for the test of our higher time frame support here. But if we end up closing above the highs of 47.70, then look for a push to highs. XRP here getting rejected out of this higher time frame resistance, higher time frame order block. Now today, if we close below this low here of about $2.95, we will probably test support. I did say 286 would be a good test, matched up with this higher time frame support here, and hopefully we could get a reaction from this now resistance flipped support and get a break of the highs at $3.18. If we end up just coming up and breaking that, again, look for a close within this resistance or a close above this resistance for a push to highs. Binance Coin, we did end up breaking this high of 950, closing above on the day, so we will just look for continued strength here. If we do now end up pushing below the low of $913, we will see price push down and test this higher time frame support, and we'll look for a liquidity grab. Solana just accumulating here, still looking for either strength to go test resistance or price to start falling here and going back down to test support. Looking at the 4-hour here on Solana, we can see this break of structure down here that tested this support. And now it does seem like we're breaking lows, kind of downtrending here. If we end up breaking above this high of 240, then look for a push to highs. But if we end up closing below this low here of 230 on these 4-hour candles, then look for the retracement. Cardano still looking for the break of the high at 95 here. But if we close below this low of 85 on the day, look for the retest of this support again. Chainlink changing character again to go test resistance, but it looks like we started to close below that now support. And if we end up closing in or below this order block in this low of $21 today, we will look for the test of higher time frame support But if we end up wicking this area today or in the next few days, look for the reaction to go push past highs. And again, considering the fact that we are trading below resistance, this is still technically downtrending. Stellar lumens, we did break below that support, created resistance. We retested that resistance and now we closed below it again today. So again, look for the retest of that resistance and then a push down to break the lows here of 34 cents. But if we end up obviously closing above this now resistance, hopefully it will turn support if we break above this high of 41 cents, and we'll look for the break and retest. But again, guys, we are trading below this resistance and we did retest and got rejected and closed below. So we are trading bearish. Avalanche, we were looking for the break of this high, and I did say look for the retest of this imbalance, and wouldn't you know, retesting the imbalance pretty well, and we'll just look for continued strength. But if it ends up closing in this imbalance or below it, obviously look for the retest of support. Hedro, same thing as Stellar Lumens, breaking below support, breaking back above it, and we did end up wicking the past 2 days above this support line. So it's still support. Again, if we end up closing below it, then look for the break and retest and then the break of lows. But if price continues to wick on these daily candles above support, look for strength to break these highs of 25 cents here. And then we will look for our break and retest. But again, if we end up closing bearish, just look for that to flip to resistance. Polkadot getting rejected at the highs, and now we are just looking for a retest of that imbalance and that support. If we break below the lows today of $4.10, we will probably go do that. If we end up closing above these daily candles, just look for a push to the highs. Uniswap, we did end up rejecting those highs and then going back down to take out early buyers in this order block. So now that we swept the early buyers in this order block, we are wicking on these daily candles, and if we continue to see strength, just look for a push to those highs. But if we close in this order block or close below it, again, we'll look for a push down to higher time frame support. Ondo still trading above that support and resistance flip. Just a pretty big accumulation area here at 90 cents to $1. So I'm just going to start calling this a range here. And we really need to break above this range. This support and resistance flip is working as a perfect equilibrium though of this range. So anytime we can bounce off this support and resistance flip here, but again, treat it as if it could go any way at this point. We did break above, so just look for the test or the fill of some imbalance and some support here, some order blocks. But if we do end up getting rejected, obviously look for the retest here. Polygon, it does seem like we got rejected off of that 30-cent resistance, and now we are going to take some liquidity and bounce support here. We'll look to see how price reacts to these lows, reacts to support, to then go, break and retest this 30-cent resistance. Algorand still trading above this support. But if we end up closing below it, obviously price will probably end up breaking down. If we could get some strength and close above these daily candles on the day here, let's look for the push to 26 cents. But again, guys, let's just see how price reacts to this support and resistance flip. Quant just accumulating. I'm looking at the low of $94 and the high of 105. So if we break that high, look for continued strength to test resistance. And if we break the low of $95, look for the test of higher time frame support. IOTA, again, just accumulating on top of that support, testing it today. If we end up closing in that support or below it, we'll look for the test of higher time frame support. If we end up getting some strength and closing bullish on the day, look for the break of that 20-cent high. XDC, same thing as always, trading in between these support and resistance zones perfectly, looking for the test of 6 cents to then go run to 10 cents. All right, guys, that was the Crypto Charts Daily Report. If you appreciate this type of in-depth technical analysis, like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate it a whole lot. And again, we're going to be changing the upload schedule to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Everything will be filmed same day, obviously. But again, I'm overloading the YouTube algorithm being a new channel and uploading so frequently. So until we get a following, we are going to upload only 3 days a week. But if we do get a following and get this going, and do get an audience base, I will start posting every day again. All right, guys, enjoy the afternoon and peace out.